Hi guys, welcome to Learn Electronics Repair. I have a webcam here from Benq. Now you might wonder why I'm going to show you a webcam. This is the ideaCam S1 Pro, and Benq asked me if I would have a look at this product, make a presentation video with it, and look at some of the features which could be useful for the sort of work we're doing in electronics repair. First, let's have a look at the ideaCam on the Benq website. Here we have the S1 Pro. You can see you can mount this like a normal webcam. It comes with a little remote control, by the way, and for example you can angle it down like this, but there's nothing unusual in that. What is a little bit more unusual is the handheld mode. We can switch on the built-in LED lighting. It has 15 times magnification. This has a macro lens. It has smart autofocus. It's very good for getting close-ups. Now, I have two microscopes here, but one of the things I do struggle with is certain jobs where I cannot get it under the microscope due to the equipment, getting the right angle on it, and I thought this would be something we can definitely look at. Handheld is just this guy examining a PCB, but again, this could be very handy if it's something you cannot easily get under the microscope, especially if the PCB is in the equipment, say for example a TV or something you can't lay flat on the desk because you don't have the space. They are mentioning you can use it on a dark background or a light background. It will work just as well. Okay. And here again we can see somebody working on a model, this time painting it, using this as a magnifier. So this is definitely something we want to try out. I was certainly interested enough to have a look at this product. We have a few more examples here. So let's try this. Let's see if it's something that's useful for electronics repair. Let's see if it will help us in situations where we cannot easily use a microscope. That is the ideaCam S1 Pro then. We have a bit more information on the back. So we can see up to 3264 by 2448. Progressive. This is pretty much 4K or close, 30 frames per second. 15 times magnifying lens, 8 megapixel Sony CMOS sensors. Sony make pretty good sensors. 3 camera modes, the remote. Let's have a look at it. Okay, what's in the box? User manual, quick start guide, regulatory statements, stuff that you never read. Okay. Quick start guide. So we can see what is in the box, setting up the webcam, how to attach it to a monitor, fairly obvious. This will actually rotate, which is quite nice. Attaching it to a tripod. Okay, that could actually be quite handy when we're trying to use this at rather unusual angles to examine things. There's an optional magnifying lens. I think it's magnetic and it just clips on there. Remote control says optional, so I'm not sure if these are actually in my package. They say optional. Let's have a look. And that's really it. Very simple to connect. This is quite chunky. You can see in my hand, it's quite a chunky thing. Feels very nicely made. This is like a metal type casing, molded aluminium or something. There we see the camera. Really a nice decent length of USB cable, that's good. We have a magnetic cover, very nice. Oh, there's some weight in this, that surprised me. That's the mount. Yep, just clips on. That is magnetic again. Yep, magnetic. That is heavy, so it's not going to fall off the monitor. It's got a very heavy counterweight on it. And this will be the magnifying or macro lens. Again, magnetic, just clips into place very easily. Okay, so that's the actual camera. We also have the remote control. Again, this is quite heavy. It rotates. This rotates for some reason. I haven't looked at it yet. Probably for adjustment. Yeah, it's nice. It feels very nice. This has a little wireless adapter, so this must be you plug into your PC for connecting wirelessly to the control. And of course batteries for the control. Okay, so that's what we have. I will set it all up and then let's try this. Let's plug in the webcam and see if Windows detects it as a video source. Okay, well, it's found something. You can see setting up device, ideaCam S1. Looks like it's done it. So now I will see if I can add that as a video source in OBS. This is my recording software for the YouTube videos. So we want to add video capture device. Let's call it ideaCam. Let's see if we can add it. In the meantime, it's told me it's set up and ready to go. Let's see if this finds it, or I have to open this window again. Device, ideaCam. So that seems simple. Oh yeah, and we're on. Okay, so that was easy. The first thing I notice is it's giving me a picture in a 4:3 size, okay? I'm not sure if that is the normal setting for the webcam. The other ones I have are in fact 16:9. Let me have a look at the settings. Okay, a few more adjustments in OBS, and I've now got it as I would want it to be. Okay, you can see there, you can see me holding the camera. We can go around the workshop with this, handheld. Very sharp, very clear. Okay, you see my oscilloscope over there, my other microscope. Component drawers. What else do we have? Yeah, the BJ workstation there. That is working really quite nicely. My overhead Sony camera, my microphone, my other webcam, my instrument camera. You can see everything here. Instruments, this is side cam that you sometimes see me pointing at the oscilloscope or similar. My other microscope, the optical one. Okay, so that is definitely working nicely. Let's try using this to look at the PCB. So from a distance, sure, it's auto-focused. It takes a second. Let me come closer. Okay, I'm now really quite close to that, and it's not focusing at that distance. Now let's try the macro lens function. So you'll notice at the inset, I'm having to hold the camera directly onto the PCB. And then we get a good image. So we can, for example, see the part numbers, component values on ones that are marked. Okay, so this will work as an examination camera like this. The only problem is because it has to sit directly on the PCB basically. Obviously the board is effectively knobbly because of the various components on there. So it's a little bit awkward to use in that respect, but it definitely works. So the macro lens is given a very good level of magnification on here. Obviously we can't use this for soldering because it is effectively sitting on the board. But if you want to examine something which is in a strange position, if you're on site for example, and you want to use this just so you can effectively see where things are and what things are, it will certainly work for that purpose. You can see I've worked on this board, hence the fact there are some components knocked off, by the way. You're not imagining it, they really are like that, okay? But that's just a perfect example of where you could spot damage using this as a camera examining the board. If it would work held a little bit further away, that would be better, to be quite honest, but it's not designed to do that. So I'll give it sort of half marks. Yes, it does it. B, it's not totally practical, in my opinion, for this sort of work at least. And we'll also try playing around with some settings. I now have it focused just by chance. Is that because the ring light is on? Let me just try. Switch it off, try again. So you can see in the inset how close I'm holding that pretty much. Actually, that works quite well. With a tripod, this would certainly make a good inspection camera. In fact, I can try it on my tripod. Let's see. Here's the camera I have mounted to the side of my bench, so I can just unscrew the tripod from this. And it fits into the base here. Okay, that just screws in. Fits quite nicely. Just angle it so we can angle this downwards now, okay. The webcam just plugs into it. There's like a little slot in the base of it. I can't move this right across my desk due to the length of cable. That's about as far as I can get it, so we'll just zoom out a touch. Okay. So there's the webcam on the tripod. Now let's have a look how we can examine a PCB with this. And we can see that we can examine the PCB, but I'm holding it in front of the camera. Try and get a little bit closer. Yeah. It's not as powerful as a microscope, but it's pretty good. I'm getting closer still. Yeah, that's giving pretty decent magnification, but I'm holding the board. I'm going to try putting the board flat on the desk and then angling the camera downwards towards it, okay? We'll move it in a bit, and then, now you see what happens. So it's flipped the image over by itself. Apparently this is some mode it does when you're bringing the camera down. I wasn't sure about it at first, but I think it's so that when, for example, I'm looking with the board away from me, I'll try and emulate this so you can see it. It's actually showing in the right direction, so this part is what's closest to the monitor, and that's what you see. Let me try and show you. So I'll angle the camera back up again. Okay, and it's flipped. You see, it's flipped the image, okay? Now let's get the camera to the side so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, I think that will give you some idea of what I'm doing. Let's turn the camera to face towards me. So you guys are basically looking from one side, okay? Now, if I slide the board towards the cam and I angle the camera downwards, okay, you can see the board. And you see that this end of it, you can see my finger, is nearest to the camera. But if I actually move this, you'll see in the image, it's the furthest away. It's back to front, basically. If I put this closer to the camera and then angle it downwards, you see there it flipped the image. And it did that now so that this end is the furthest away from me. That's how I'm viewing it, okay? Let's go a bit closer in. Angle again. So that's effectively using the camera as a microscope on my tripod. It's too far away really. It doesn't really give me the magnification I want. If I put the macro lens on, it will just be out of focus. Okay, so that doesn't help. So I have to say really that feature, which is the thing I expected it to be the main thing for this webcam, doesn't really work. Not for me anyway. Okay, I can hold the board closer. So yeah, if I mounted the camera a bit lower down, that would be good, I guess. Let's try it again handheld to examine something that's difficult to get under the microscope. So here we have a large amplifier. I can't get this under my microscope without remounting the whole thing. In fact, the double boom stand on my optical microscope isn't high enough. The Andon Star, I would probably have to mount it from the beam above the desk that supports the overhead camera. Let's see how well this handheld works compared with my overhead camera. So you can see the amplifier. This is using my overhead camera system. Let's have a look. This is a Sony, so we'll just zoom down. Okay, we can see in there now, we can see some components and such like. But I'm having to move the amplifier across the bench to do it. That's because of how my overhead camera is mounted. That's the maximum magnification, and give it a few seconds, it would normally focus. Of course, this time it doesn't want to. Okay, that's about the maximum I can get in focus, okay? There. So, that's using the overhead Sony camera, but most of you guys would not have access to such a thing, so let's try the Benq. This is the feature which I thought would be really useful on this, which is why I wanted to look at it. Let's have a look. Well, I can't get it particularly close and focused. I'm just trying to move it now. It's focused. It took a few seconds, but it has focused. Yes, for this usage it does work. The focus is a little bit laggy, but it does catch up with it. I have the little light on, the ring light. Let me just switch it off, see if it makes much difference. So we'll look down there into the depths of the amplifier. It's focused. So that is very grainy. Put the ring light on. Much better. Yeah, that does work. Off again. It is switching the ring light quite happily, actually. So that is, I will say, useful. Okay, I did find one of the things I wanted to try where this does work. Let's now try the camera mounted on the monitor as you would normally use a webcam. I now have the webcam mounted on the monitor. We'll just angle it down a little bit. Okay, that's doing a reasonable job of inspecting the amplifier, giving me a nice view of it at least. But I think what will happen is I rotate this downwards. Past a certain point, like, look, it's flipped the image. Now, I didn't want it to flip the image at that point, but it has flipped the image, and that's not what I wanted, and I haven't seen any way I can really stop it from doing that. Certainly not in OBS, which is what I would be using with this. So it's not really doing what I would want it to do, I have to say. Another thing with the webcam, you can tilt it up and down on the monitor, but what you can't do, because there's no adjustment to do it, is to turn it from side to side. So there's, oh. And then guys, you saw what happened with the camera angling downwards, it just fell off. I'm also not convinced the picture quality from the camera is as good as the other one I'm using, which is my cheap 2K camera. I can just try and show you. So obviously the ideaCam is giving a more magnified image of me, but I think you can probably see that the image is not as clear. The camera above is my cheap €20 2K Full HD camera from AliExpress. That one, and yet the image, without me messing around with any settings at least, is better than the $210 Benq. To sum up, I'm not really sure exactly what the ideaCam is aimed at. I had some ideas of what I would want to do with it, which I thought you guys would be interested, with this being the electronics repair channel, but it doesn't suit those applications. I haven't tried it with the software you can download from Benq because I am a YouTuber, so I am going to be using OBS. I think that's pretty much ubiquitous amongst YouTubers, especially the ones who are recording in a workshop like I am. OBS is what we use. It's a bit of a shame because I like the quality of the webcam. It's sturdily built. I like the magnetic cover and the overall design. I like the stand, apart from the fact you can't rotate the webcam, which I find difficult to believe. I mean, that's a standard feature on the webcam, be able to rotate it on the mount, but this doesn't have it. It's not a product I can recommend for this application. It may well be suited to other ones. If Benq want to come back and maybe suggest I'm doing something wrong with the product, I will happily take another look at it. But for now, guys, it's not something I can recommend if you want to use it in electronics repair, like a microscope or a macro lens. Okay, hope you enjoyed it anyway. I did enjoy playing around with the ideaCam. And get into the comments below, let me know. Maybe you've seen one of these before, maybe you've tried one. Hope you enjoyed that, and I look forward to seeing you all again on another Learn Electronics Repair video. Ciao for now, guys.